Well, it's never a good idea to ask a priest if I know what day it is. I'm not that old yet. Yes, I do know what day it is. As a matter of fact, people have been asking me all week. So let me just say, with as much cultural coolness as I can bring, yes, I know the date, and I know the day. When I was up this morning, we had a wonderful week of services, by the way, during this Holy Week. Beautiful baptisms last night. Woke up early. Girls came with me to the mountaintop service. And yes, I saw the clouds that God intended to be floating over the mountain early in the morning. The clouds that only God can put there before any other cloud appears on top of Vail Mountain. Yes, I know that my excitement today is to get high with Jesus. And I hope that we can all light up the Spirit together today. Does anybody know what does anybody know the time of the concert that starts this afternoon in Vail? Can anybody just take a wild guess? 4:20. Oh, funny. Wow. Okay, there you go. Yes, I know what day it is. It's Easter Day. The most important thing that's going to happen today is right here and right now to proclaim the good news. The only real message that makes us distinctively Christian is that tomb is empty. Jesus was raised, not resuscitated. He was raised to new and different life. And that our world will never be the same again. A year ago, I was so excited to do this service because right after this service, I was leaving you. I was going on a sabbatical trip. It's a rare gift for a priest to get. To take time out of an everyday kind of ministry to stop and think and reflect and pray and study and travel. When I left you the next day, a year ago, I traveled over 30,000 miles. I went to the central area of Turkey. It's called Cappadocia. I followed the footsteps of the Apostle Paul back through central Turkey, along the coast, up into the mountains, out to Ephesus on western Turkey. I flew to Greece. Deacon Steve met me there. We traveled to Thessalonica and Philippi and Athens. I went on by myself to Malta and Sicily, Italy, and I ended in Rome at the tomb of St. Paul. It was an amazing experience, and I had the privilege that you all gave to me to think and pray about the life that I am living, the ministry that we conduct together. I asked the Lord repeatedly on that trip, is this what you want me doing with my life? Is this how to spend my hours and my days? I repeatedly asked, and God gave me an amazing answer. Now, I have to tell you, when I got back, our family was also able to do some traveling. Our family loves to travel. We have a great time when we travel. I was talking to my youngest daughter, Katie, just a few weeks ago about our travels, and she very casually said, Dad, I'll tell you the two places that are on my bucket list. Hawaii and Tahiti. And I said, it's interesting, honey, Hawaii. I mean, I've never been there. It sounds beautiful. It'd be fun to go. And Tahiti sounds very magical. And bucket list? Really? Well, I started thinking about what a 10-year-old bucket list might look like. And then I started thinking about what a 49-year-old bucket list would look like. You guys travel much more than we do. Where is the one place that you have never been that you just can't wait to go? Or the one experience? Have you ridden all the trains in Colorado? Oh, it's a lot of fun to go on all the trains, including the 8.5-hour Amtrak train that you can only drive for 2 hours from Glenwood Springs to Denver. 8.5, 9, 10. It's a blast. Who here wants to come with me and walk across Scotland, the Holy Land, where all good things dwell? Anybody want to walk across Scotland? Wouldn't that be a blast? Right, I have you. How about a cruise? Some of you all went on a cruise up the St. Lawrence River and got to Halifax in Nova Scotia and then took the ferry to Prince Edward Island. That sounds so cool. Who's driven on a motorcycle up the road to Alaska, that long dirt road that eats recreational vehicles? Has anybody ever done that? Really? Okay, all right. Who's been to Tibet? Yeah, okay, right. That was, I smoked out the washings on that. Okay. Can you think about a place you'd really love to go? Isn't it fun to get ready for a trip? Isn't it fun to think about? Months and months I thought about my sabbatical. Read about it and planned for it and got excited. Right in the middle of central Turkey, I had an interesting thought. I was all by myself in a little stone cave chapel. And in that stone cave chapel, someone about 1,200 years ago had painted a little painting of a biblical scene. It was hung in a river valley, this little stone cave. I walked to the very back of the cave, and do you know what was in the back of that cave? This icon, 1,200 years ago, by an anonymous, faithful Christian in a little stone cave. I went halfway across the world, and I found you. In that cave, I knelt down and I said a prayer that God would rededicate my life to sharing the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ with every single one of you. And I prayed for this service, this Easter. And do you know, when I came back, from the moment I came back until today, almost a year ago, we have conducted 14 funeral services together. We've baptized almost 20 children. We have stood together in hospital rooms, living rooms, coffee shops, and chapels to share the good news that the tomb is still empty and Jesus is alive. I heard the voice of the angel in this reading. You heard it just a few minutes ago. The voice of the angel says to those two women who show up to the tomb and they're absolutely shattered. The man they thought would save the world ended up being executed in the most horrific way possible. Those two women are not going to brunch. They're not wearing an Easter hat. They're going to bury the man that they thought God would use to save the world. But he's not there. What happened? An angel is standing there, a messenger from the Lord. And the angel says three things to those women. The first thing the angel says is, do not be afraid. The most often repeated biblical statement in the New Testament. Gabriel says to Mary to tell her that she's pregnant. The angels tell the shepherds in the field in Bethlehem. Jesus tells his best friends on the boat when they all think they're about to die, do not be afraid. I came back from that sabbatical convinced that I had to conduct my ministry and our church needed to stand without fear. And we minister to people who are crushed by fear and anxiety every single day. And I think the best prescription is to get a double dose of God's amazing love. Because the Bible says that perfected love throws out fear and casts it out. Fear and love can't exist in the same frame. And I know there's at least one person here, there always is, to whom I'm preaching. Some years it's me, that needs to hear that God saying to an angel, do not be afraid. There's literally in this world nothing to fear when we follow Christ. There is no power or authority on this planet that can stand against the man that was risen from the dead. And if we're going to be a church, friends, we are going to be fearless in sharing the faith. And we're going to stand tall and proud. Is there anybody here that needs to hear that Easter message? Do not be afraid. The second thing the angel said to these women who were absolutely shattered, come and see. Come and see. Look into the empty tomb. God is big enough for our questions and our doubts. People tell me all the time, I've lost my faith, I'm asking questions, I can't come to church. I'm like, oh my God, we're Episcopalians, really? What's God doing in the Episcopal Church? Making Christians out of Episcopalians one at a time. If God is big enough to raise Jesus from the dead, He's big enough to take our doubts, our questions, our conundrums, our confusions, right? This is the place to ask the big questions because we worship a big God. Come and see. Look inside the empty tomb. There are people sitting in church their whole lives. I know, I used to be one, and I've never seriously considered if Jesus is alive now and risen, God broke the rules of human existence. What does that have to do with me? How does that change my life? I was walking out of Village Market just a few blocks from here on Friday morning. I had my black clergy shirt and my big white collar that says, "Hi, I'm ordained and I'm rather odd." And Good Friday morning, I'm walking out and I bumped into a really nice fellow that lives here in Edwards. And he looked at me strangely and he said, "Are you starting Easter early?" And I said, No, it's Good Friday. And he stopped in the parking lot of Village Market. He looked around, he said, Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a Good Friday. I agree. Really? There are so many people that don't even know our story. They don't understand what we're doing today. There might be people here that just got roped into a free brunch, or maybe you're dating someone that's Christian and you're here by, assignment. I don't know. But there's generally one person here that needs to hear the angel say, "Come and see. Look into that empty tomb. Put God to the test. Is Jesus really real? Is God's love trustworthy?" The answer is yes. That's why we're here. The last thing the angel said is, "Go quickly." He said to the women, "Go quickly and tell the best friends of Jesus that He is alive." Friends, I want to tell you that there has never been a time in my ministry where I have felt the urgency to come to you and tell you to go quickly to Jesus. Our Christian faith is under assault. I said to the people at the mountaintop service, how many years do you think it is where I will be able to go onto public property and lead a Christian service of worship? I ask myself that every year. We have never been under the kind of change and challenge that we are now. We baptized 2 little girls, and every time I do a baptism, I think about my own children. Can you imagine the 21st century that they are inheriting from us? And all the change and the challenge. There is an urgency this year to this gospel message. Someone needs to hear the message, go quickly to Jesus. We used to argue in the church about all kinds of things. If you bring a guitar into church, I'm leaving. I've heard that. If you say the Lord's Prayer in a contemporary form in Edwards, you need to say it in the original form. To which I said, I didn't know you knew Aramaic. That's really amazing. We used to argue in the church about the color of the doors. I interviewed in a church years ago, being an assistant. The church split over the selection of wine. The Chablis contingent left the Episcopal Church and founded a new Episcopal church down the street. And the Port contingent stayed. I said, that's the wrong answer for Episcopalians. You know the Episcopalian answer. Port or Chablis? What's the answer?
Yes.
Sure. What else you got? Those are luxuries, friends, we no longer have. boutique Christianity will not survive. That angel is calling women to commit their lives, to sacrificially lay down the lives that they thought they were living, to follow Jesus in a new way. I hear that angel voice so strongly today. Please, please do not let this Easter be just another time to go out on a beautiful spring day to brunch. If that is true, and the only thing you leave with is that, we have failed you utterly. Friends, this is a new message for a new day, new life, with truth and beauty. Go quickly to Jesus. I want to welcome you again. I know what day it is. Don't you? It's the day that Jesus was risen from the dead. Alleluia, Christ is risen. Alleluia.